Hey, 42 here. Most people see dictatorships as a thing of the past. But to this day, 2.6 billion people worldwide are living under a dictatorship. In fact, only 11% of the world's population are living in a fully democratically ruled country. The Democracy Index map shows the spread and severity of dictatorships worldwide. The closer to red, the more authoritarian the regime of said country. But who are the 10 deadliest, most despicable dictators of all time? Up first, we have the arse making headlines around the world, Bashar al-Assad, current president and ruthless dictator of Syria. When he first came into power in 2000, everyone thought he was a pretty decent guy, promising hope and reform to the country. Why would you think any different with a family photo like this? But it all turned sour very quickly when he ordered mass crackdowns and military sieges on Arab Spring protesters, leading to the Syrian civil war. Since then, he has been responsible for over 110,000 deaths, and he is now wanted by the United Nations for crimes against humanity. At number 9 is Mengistu Haile Mariam, an Ethiopian politician who was the leader of the communist Derg party that governed Ethiopia from 1974 to 1987. During his introductory leadership speech, he announced death to the revolution and to the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Party. Fearing people didn't quite get the message, he threw 3 bottles filled with blood from his pedestal. Yeah, that ought to do it. In total, he was responsible for 1.5 million deaths. And just to rub salt in the wound, he even taxed families who requested the return of dead bodies of their loved ones. At number 8 is former North Korea leader Kim Il-sung. Up until his death in 1994, he led the nation using extreme force and deception. He lost so much respect from the people of North Korea that he decided to blame the US for the nation's suffering, falsely claiming the American superpower had launched a biological attack on the people of North Korea, causing a pandemic in the country. And to make it even more convincing, he killed 1.6 million of his own people. Infamous Cambodia communist leader Pol Pot takes the number 7 spot. He had a grand vision of a country where everyone is equal. So, he commanded all city workers to relocate and work on the farms, and all farm workers to work in the city. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work as expected. So, to punish his people, he deprived them of the right to education, medication, and nutrition. He also executed 1.7 million people who didn't follow his ideals. At 6 is Ismail Enver Pasha. Ismail was the leader of the 1908 Young Turk Revolution and leader of the Turkish-ruled Ottoman Empire during the Balkan Wars and World War I. But people soon discovered that he wasn't very good at leading armies after losing battle after battle. So, to compensate for his losses, and to boost his ego a little, he decided to slaughter 1.5 million Armenians, and over 1 million other people of various races. At number 5 is former Japanese dictator Hideki Tojo. He was assigned the position of general in the Imperial Japanese Army, but he wasn't content with that, so he took it upon himself to assume the positions of Army Minister, Home Minister, Foreign Minister, Education Minister, and Commerce Minister. Oh, and if all that wasn't enough, Prime Minister as well. He also formed an alliance with the Nazis, hoping he would rise to power alongside Hitler. Tojo was responsible for 5 million deaths in total. At number 4 is Leopold II of Belgium. He founded and ran the Congo Free State, an area of Central Africa, from 1885 to 1908. The colonial nations of Europe handed Leopold the Congo Free State so he could improve the lives of the native inhabitants. But he instead used it entirely for his own gain. He used a mercenary force to dictate the native inhabitants, to collect ivory and rubber from the plentiful natural environment. Villagers were required to meet rubber quotas, which, if they didn't meet, the individual's hands were cut off. Leopold earned a fortune through this exploitation. He committed some of the worst atrocities in history, and was responsible for enslaving and killing 15 million Congolese. Number 3 is Joseph Stalin. He became leader of the Soviet Union after Lenin died in 1924. Stalin led the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1953. He enforced his socialist ideals in an attempt to make the country more progressive. However, Stalin's new socialist economy led to the starvation of nearly 10 million people. Many activists tried to contest his leadership, so Stalin launched the Great Purge, killing every person who opposed his ideals. In total, he was responsible for the deaths of over 23 million people. Number 2 needs no introduction. Probably the most infamous dictator of all time is Adolf Hitler. Born in Austria in 1889, he became a German politician and leader of the Nazi Party. During the German presidential elections of 1932, Hitler used communism ideals and Nazi propaganda to gain support for his campaign. He frequently denounced international capitalism and communism as being part of a Jewish conspiracy. After the Nazi Party was successfully elected, he vowed to eliminate Jews from Germany and establish a new world order to counter what he saw as the injustice of the post-World War I international order dominated by Britain and France. And we all know what happened next. During his 11-year dictatorship between 1934 and 1945, he was responsible for countless crimes against humanity and the deaths of over 17 million people, including 6 million Jews. And finally, number 1, simply because of the sheer number of deaths, is former communist leader of China, Mao Zedong, between 1945 and 1976. In total, he was responsible for over 78 million deaths. This guy makes Hitler look like a schoolyard bully. Mao had an unquenchable thirst for power. In his first 5 years of power, he indiscriminately sentenced 6 million people to death. And during a very short period of 4 years between 1958 and 1962, Mao's communist policies starved and worked to death over 45 million Chinese citizens. Many were also beaten to death. He also executed any enemies of the state at the drop of a hat. Thanks for the view, subscribe for more 42.